All right, so all right, good. So I'm gonna start with the question 8, most popular questions here. The most popular question was 2000 e to the what? E to which power?
A negative t squared over 20.
Okay, so you cannot do t squared. You have to do x squared on the decimals. So x squared over 20?
Negative.
X squared.
Negative x squared. Now, according to Aiden took the AP exam last year. Aiden says this exact same question or like similar but just different number. It's on the AP exam, so it's on the FRQ. Now, I never exposed kids this early about FRQ, but I thought was a good question. So every year I kind of change it a little bit. Last year they didn't get exposed, so a lot of people didn't have this question right. So I'm gonna expose you early. Usually I don't want to show people FRQ question until end of the year, but this is the one of the good one. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna plug in specific data, and the data I'm gonna plug in is Oh, by the way, you're gonna click on the wheel. This is how you cheat on SAT. Jacob, pay attention.
I don't cheat, bro. I'm a good kid.
0, 1, 3, 6, and 8. So do you guys know how the data listed? This is how you're going to go through the data. And this is how I don't have to do the calculation. I just enter the X value, they will come out with the data. So you click on the wheel and you come out this. If you don't know how to do it, try on your own. Yes.
Why those numbers specifically? Is there?
Because you're matching with the X data of the table.
Oh, okay.
So what happened in this situation? There's something that is pumping in the water. Oh, it was leaking, first of all. The function is the rate of model the pumping into. So the first is pumping in. The table is removing. Okay, so one is going in and one's going out. Ideally, you want to see where they met each other. They both say they both are continuous function because according to the question, pay attention on the word. They say what is pumping into the rate at model of WT of 2000 e to the negative t squared over 20 liter per hour, which t is measured per hour. What is removing from the second model RT per hour, where R is continuous, decreasing at this. So first of all, this is a continuous function. They don't need to say this is a continuous function because this is exponential function. This has to be continuous. If I were to graph it, it's going to be between 0 to 8. 0 to 8, and this is going to be like 5,000, I think. It's going to be like this. So this is a continuous function because this is just a straight line. Now the table, they have to tell you that it's continuous function. If you read the thing carefully, this is how you're going to read on AP exam. You're going to read very specific function. Is this function continuous? Is this function differentiable? It's those things. But this function is decreasing. It's decreasing. Therefore, you say, okay, well, is a continuous function is decreasing? Now I'm going to look at a table and see which region is matched this number because they wanted to have the rate that's pumping in is equal to rate is removing. That's what they want. But so you're going to study this data. The data between 0 to 1 is 1340 to 1190. Here is 2000 to 1900. So you know that's not the one. Is that okay? So you're gonna look at between 1 to 3. So it's 1900 to 2075. And here's 1190 to 950, which is also not in a range because they're not equal to each other. Now from 3 to 6, from 1275 to 330. And then here's 950 to 740. Now you say, hey, this is within the range. We don't know when it happened. We don't know it happened between 4 or 5 or 6, but we know it happened between 3 to 6. Does that make sense? And this question is really good. That just say if you really understand it now, you're gonna go pretty far, because this is a very hard question on FRQ. Very, very hard questions. Most of the people who got a 5 last year, they understand it, which is 32% of them. It's kind of low. I wish this year, hopefully, it's 50% or above. My highest one is usually 50%. Not last year, but the year before is a 50% 5. That means that every 1 out of 2 students is a 5. Last year is a lot lower because last year I worked with the kids. The skill is not there. This group is roughly the same, but I think this group may be able to outperform. I don't know yet. We will see. See how hard you work through all the way to the end. Okay, so that's that question.
Can we just grab the coordinate they gave us and see which one is like? It tells us it's a continuous.
You can if you really want, but they don't have to remove exactly. So what they're saying, hold on, Miranda. When this table is not necessary, you can graph those points. So let's just say graph those points if you want. So I am gonna I'm gonna add a table. You can do that as well. So let's do that. So 0, but that's not what they want. They just want to know which range is it.
Is it like more obvious what the answer is? Or is like
It's more obvious, but it doesn't mean the date. So it's a continuous function. So the table it still doesn't tell me where. We still only want to know it's between which point to which point. Now, this point, if I connect all the dots like this, will I do that? Hold on a second. I cannot connect all the dots. I don't know how to do that. Maybe there's a way. Oh, click on this. Wait.
like dots like
No, this is regression. This is not what we want. So I don't want a regression, but there's a way to connect dots. So some people say it's like right here. It's fine, but that's not. The table does not tell you it's for sure a straight line. The table is just enough particular data as that point, so they can fluctuate. So right here we only know the range between what value to what value. Does that make sense? Okay. Yeah, because some people can say, "Oh yeah, that's a regression," but the problem is I don't want a regression because they are not the same the whole time. So what happened? The table is not for sure data. Okay. So this is another question that I will say a lot of people screw up. Yes.
So like back to 8 so is that all we were right? Like,
Yeah, that's how you were right between 3 to 6.
oh,
Okay, so this one is x squared minus ax 3x plus 6. Did anybody get this one right? The answer. Oh, good. I'm glad you pointed that out. How do I know if I have the right answer? Now you're gonna realize a lot of things I don't post the answer up there. You should always check your answer to decimals. Now this is how I check on decimals. I'm gonna teach you how to graph the piecewise function. So get your phone out or get your computer out. This is how I graph it. X squared minus ax, right? Is that right? Minus ax?
Yeah.
And if you want to do the restriction, cell domain restriction, what you're going to do is you're going to click on a brace right here. Do you see this brace? And you're going to say x is what? Less than, equal to 2, right? Yeah. And they say add slider, add a slider. Slider is a really cool way to solve a problem on AP exam. A lot of time, but not on AP exam, on SAT. On SAT, a lot of questions like they ask you discriminant. They ask you like some type of quadratic. So like say 2x squared plus bx plus c, and they say, hey, can you find which value of b where you only have one solution? You can actually use discriminant solve in like literally 10 seconds. So it's a really powerful tool if you know how to use them. So what's the other equation?
3x plus 6.
3x plus 6. And you're going to do a restriction, which is a brace, when x is greater than 2. Okay? So then you're going to see this. Is this continuous function? No. But you can actually press the slider. And you can see all the infinite possibility. There's only one point that's equal to they can connect. We know the answer is at -4, so we double check if it's right. -4, this is the answer you got. This is correct. However, I'm going to talk about how would I write things on FRQ. Remember, you are writing things on FRQ, not multiple choice. In multiple choice, whatever you guys weigh will work. On FRQ, it's going to have to write slightly different. If it's on FRQ, this how would I write it? F2, remember, follow this condition. F2 is F2 defined. Yeah, it's defined because I can plug in 2, not the second equation, but the top equation. The top equation can equal to 2. So f of 2 is 4 minus 2a. Defined. Okay. In terms of what FRQ is gonna be, you're gonna say, how do I do math FRQ? This is how to do math FRQ. You have to prove those conditions true. First condition is good. Second condition is limit exists. Limit exists have to reach from left equal to right. So now, a lot of you guys just plug in 2 here. X squared plus axe, just plug in 2 here. But in order to get a point on AP exam, you have to write down this. If you don't write down this on AP exam, they are not inclined to give you a point. Not saying they won't, but they don't want to give you a point. Let's put it that way. For them, they want to write certain thing. They want you to think about as x approaching from the left as equal to x approaching to the right. So if you don't write this part, you just plug in 2, you're going to get the same answer. But if you write this part, that means you understand math. So that's what the way they want. So you learn how to write that. Limit x approaching a from the right is equal to limit x approaching right, left. And you go ahead and solve it by direct substitution. Direct substitution, most of you guys go straight from this without writing down limits. So you gotta make sure you write down limits. The answer is gonna be a equal to -4. This is how you get all the points, all the marbles. Okay, yes, Miranda. Good. You look at a function because this is less than 2 is 2 from the left. This is greater than 2 is 2 from the right. Today's homework is gonna be harder. I'm gonna give you 3 equation, 2 variables. 3 equation, 2 variable. You're gonna have to do system equation. So today's equation is gonna be a little bit harder. You can use decimals to check your answers. Pretty cool. If you have 2 possible random slider, there's infinite amount of choice to figure out what's the right answer. So that is even harder than this current one. But this one is a building foundation. Most of you guys got through it okay, which is good. Separated that on the BC exam. He solved it after like 30 minutes after the class. Like he stayed here during lunch. And he's like, I finally got it. He was like, I'm such a genius.
I wasn't like that, but like, I've never seen anything like this. Just jump to the hardest one.
Well, it proved that you're worthy. All right. This is another question that a lot of people didn't have problem proving intermediate value theorem. But f of x is continuous, f0 is -2, f3 is 19, 2 and 19. IVT proved that fc is equal to 4. That's no problem. But there's no way to factor this. So in the pre-calculus, you learn like this. The rational root theorem. Rational root theorem is those possible zeros, which is a factor of this number over factor of 1. So you get all those possible choices. So those are possible zeros. And you can plug in each individual one in. The only answer that's right is 2. So in this question, it's pretty much brute force. There's no easy way to do it. There's no way to factor those, at least not that I know of. But this is the only way, plug in all the number between 0 to 3, which is because 0 to 3 is all the factor, and that's how to solve all the problem. So this is the hard one. Yes.
Can you go
What?
like that, the equation that you said, like, say,
Last year, we remember, right? We talked about this number, and this number is a factor of 6. There's a few factor of 6. 6. You remember this? And the factor of 1, that's going to be plus minus 1. So if you divide it by each other, it's going to be plus minus 6, plus minus 3, plus minus 2, plus minus 1. So that means your 0 could be any of those values, or possible zeros. And then you're going to say, oh, okay, well, we don't need a negative number, so it's going to be 6, 3, 2, 1. So you're going to try those numbers using synthetic division last year. But this year, you can also just plug in, you're going to get a 0. So you plug in 2, it's going to give you a 0, so 2 is the only choice. Now, let's talk about something cool. All right, squeeze theorem. This one's on the test, and I'm going to tell you this is a question on the test. I'm also tell you definition of continuous is on the test. This is on the test. Anytime you got conjugate, combined fraction, cancel factor, those are all on the test. Basic limit is on the test. Every time it's on the test, if you pay attention on notes, if you just write a very good notes, you're gonna get like 50% on the test. Because I usually tell you, I'm not gonna be the one that says, oh, surprises, this is the test. But I usually tell you what is on the test if you pay attention. So take good notes. Today we want to study this question. Limits x approach 0 of x sine of 1 over x. And we say is this equal to what? What happens if I plug in 0? If I just direct substitution, I'm going to get 0 sine of 1 over 0. But just this part is undefined. It's not even indeterminate. It's undefined itself. So again, question mark. We don't know what does that lead to. However, we do know part of it. We do know what is sine of 1 over x graph. We talked about this 2 days ago. Sine of 1 over x. What does this graph look like? Yeah, and Leo's correct. The infinite slap one. Like when I get beat up by mom.
Oh yeah, you're.
So it looks like sine of 1 over x, right? And it's increase the frequency when you approach 0. And looks like this. And as a y equal to 1, it's restricted by y equal to 1 and y equal to negative 1. Is that okay? Yeah. And that's something that we know of. And we know limit x approach 0 in this case is what? What happened when limit x approach 0? So it'll be what? One of the situations what? Does not exist. Good. Because the function is looks like something like this. Like this, something like that. Ends between 1 and negative 1. Right? But we know it's oscillating so fast at 0, we say it does not exist. And you're like, oh, okay, I get this. Not a problem. But what happens if I place an x in the front? Now that becomes a problem. So then this thing is extra. But how do I make sine of 1 over x? We know the restriction is between negative 1 to 1. Do you know that? Is it between those two values? Now, how do I make this to become like this? times x. Good. Because just x in the front. But when you times x, you must do the whole inequality. So that just multiply this by x. So there's a negative x less than x sine of 1 over x less than x. And you're like, oh, okay. Well, that doesn't help me with limits because I still don't know what that middle part is equal to 0. However, we do know the boundary when I reach 0. Imagine this. If I take this function and this function, I just let it x approach 0 from the left of negative x. We had to do it from the left. And that's equal to what? Direct substitution or just plugging what? 0. And please don't tell me negative 0. There's no such a thing as negative 0, just 0. Okay. And those limits x approach 0 from the x, that's also equal to what? 0. But again, this is within, right? This is a value between. Guess what? The only possible choice as x approaches 0 of x sine of 1 over x, it has to also equal to what? 0. So a lot of time they call it sandwich theorem. It's sandwich in between. This ham has to be in the middle. There's 1 year they have a squeeze theorem on AP exam, and some student put sandwich theorem. He's got a point. The teacher did not mark it off, even though that's not the right name. It's squeeze theorem. No, it's seriously, that person got a credit. It was on the scoring rubric. It said squeeze theorem, or some people may mention sandwich theorem. But please don't put a sandwich, put a squeeze. Okay, so let's look at a graph. Now remember, we're going to change the boundary from -1 to 1 to what? X and negative x, right? So we're going to change this to x, and we're going to change to negative x, right? And then we're going to place the x in front of that. Do you see that oscillation?
Whoa, man.
It's oscillating so fast. Like, remember, it's oscillating really fast. But she get tired now. She's like, she cannot swim as hard. It's going to be like right here. Right? So kind of squeeze into the boundary. And this boundary is going to be y equal to x and y equal to negative x. They operating exactly with that restriction. And that's what's the cool part about math is you think about those things, and this is what is building from graphically understanding. This is really, really cool. Now, what happens if I put an x squared in the front instead of x?
Where?
Look at this. At first, you might not see anything, right? You might not see anything. It's really disciplined. It's like kind of mind opening, right? It's like, wow, it's like math can be pretty cool if you really understand it. If you understand it, this is how you lead to. But imagine this though, teaching calculus 10 years ago, there's no decimals. You cannot zoom in. You cannot keep on zooming in. Now you can, so which just makes things a lot more interesting. Back then, professor had to write it, how to draw it, but they cannot zoom in on the drawing. But now you can. Okay, so that's one thing. All right, let's talk about graphically, how to find limit graphically. Okay. So you can take a picture of this. This is very easy today. Today you have one hard question. It's like you had to find an A and B. You can take a picture here because that was easier to find all those answers. I want you guys finding the answer for each individual one. You can also draw if you want to, but you don't have to draw it. But if you take a picture, it'll be quicker. Or I can somebody take a picture online, post online. Where's Emily? Oh, she's here. Okay, that was really quick. Huh? No, I saw a picture. I saw you post something. I was like, wait, sure. But yeah, so this did you post the same picture? Okay. So here's my first question. Now this is by scale. If you realize this is 1, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, -7, -8. So what happened when limit x approach to -1? This is an easy one. It's just -1, right? So this is a fairly easy. That's not an issue. Now, I want you to think about what happened when limit x approaches -8. Andy, don't say anything. If you say, other people stop thinking because everybody's going to be like, Andy's always right. So don't say anything. I'm going to call on you. I'm going to ask you, what happened when limit x approaches -8? Oh, -8 is right here. These kind of blind. Don't say anything. I will call on you. All right, I'm gonna call on people. Ethan Sauter, what do you think? You think it's 4? Okay. Sophia thinks it's 4 as well. Okay. Lee, you think it's 4?
No, I think.
You think it's undefined? Okay. Apple, what do you think? You think it's 4? Emily, what do you think?
Or did you just move them up to the thing?
You think it's 4? Okay. Who else think it's 4? Raise your hand. All right, good. So some of you guys thinking 4. How many of you guys think it's undefined? How many of you guys you don't know? You don't know, Jacob? Because all right, so the answer is undefined. Okay, so here's the thing. Shh. Remember the first thing on the limit notes. On limit notes, we says you approach a value from both sides. If it's one value like this, you want to think limit approaching from both ends. So how do I approach from both ends? This approaching this way is what? 3. This approaching here is 2. So therefore, the answer does not exist. And this is how I trick students. Again, this is what you need to understand. So what happened to f of -8?
Oh, that's
Yasmin, what do you think? 4 is good. Okay, so that's 4. What happened limit approaching -8 from the left side? Apple, what do you think? This says -8 from the negative side. Three is correct. Jacob, what happened when limit approaching -8 from the positive side? 2. Say good. Okay, so Jacob,
What's up, bro?
what happened when limit x approaching -5? Don't tell him, Winston. Do not tell him, Winston. Don't say.
Stop. I don't want your help.
What happened to limit x approach to -8? Oh, -5, sorry. If you got it wrong, you're gonna have to drop your last name.
Scroll up. I can't see the graph.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's true. -5 is right here.
-5 right there. Obviously 1. Oh.
Okay, you gotta go to group chat, change your last name back to
Oh,
whatever
I'm
name you have.
Oh wait, no. I know. Wait, do you guys remember when Lee raised his hand first? Said he didn't exist, and then everyone raised their hands and said before, and then Andy raised his hand and didn't exist.
Andy's a bar.
Yeah.
Okay. So -5. How many people says is equal to -2? How many people says -2? You says -2?
Yeah.
You think it's -2?
Like what? It's just -5, not from 0 to 5.
I was confused. I thought the point where he wrote -5 was where I was confused. I didn't know it was below the graph.
All right. So the good thing is -5. Every time you look at -5, you look at from both ends. So you look at this end is equal to -2. You look at this end is -1. They're not equal to each other. So the answer must be what? Thank you. What happened? Limit x approaching -5 on the left side.
-1.
-1. Good. Now it's -1. Okay. You understand now?
Yeah.
Okay. So what happened? Limit x approaching -5 on the positive side.
-2.
Is it what? -2. Okay, that's fine. Okay. Let me try it like this again. Okay. I'm gonna ask Kaden. What happened when limit x approaching -2? I'll give you a fist bump if you got it. Let's see if you're worth it. Yes. No, don't nobody tongue.
Did you say that?
Sure. Never touch your hand again.
0. No, I understood the other one. I promised.
Because you didn't understand it. That's why what happens when you don't show up to class.
I'll go.
No, alright.
It's approaching the 0. Both ends. It's approaching the 0. Do you see that?
Yeah.
It's going from both ends. It's going to a 0. Okay, what happened when limit x approaches 3? Let's ask this kid. What's your name? Samuel. Samuel, what do you think when limit x approaches to 3? 3 is right here. It's so easy, but you got it wrong, so.
You didn't put me on the spot.
It whoopie does not exist. Good job, Samuel. Good job. Okay, what happened when limit x approaches 3 from the left? Andrew. 3 from the left. 3 from the left. 3 from the left negative side. 3 minus sign, so it's not -3. But what do you think?
It's just an arrow pointing down.
So what does that mean?
That means that infinity.
Good job. Good choice. That's a good choice. That's a good choice. Andrew, good job. Okay, what happened when limit x approaches to infinity? Look at this graph. Can you tell me what happened when limit x approached infinity? Larissa, what do you think? You're on high on the corner, so I'm calling you. He's like this, high behind a chair. He's like, you would never spot me. What happened when limit x approaches infinity? Past infinity, the answer is no. Huh? 1 is correct. Good job. What happened is limit x approach to 1. That's it.
Can you explain the negative infinity one?
Negative infinity because they're approaching 3 from the negative side makes it on the left side. So it's going to go down It's gonna go infinite down because that's look like asymptote because the dotted line represents asymptote.
So then why is the other one?
Because from the left side is negative infinity, from the right side is positive infinity.
Okay.
So they do not equal each other. And it's also unbounded behavior as well.
Oh,
So those two reasons why they are does not exist. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. So I want to show you a video, and there's a video I want to show you a long time ago, and I just never get a chance to show you. No,
No, I don't.
there's a video specifically to show you Lee. This is what you need to pay attention.
I got the question.
Neil deGrasse Tyson about hiring.
I think this is too late.
Okay, shh.
I'm worried really about how much fuzzy thinking is going on in the world. Fuzzy thinking, people are just not thinking straight. Consider this following example. Imagine you have a spelling bee. It's contrived, but it makes the point. There's a spelling bee, and you have to spell the word.
Hayden, pay attention.
Okay. So one student spells it C-A-T. Person got it right. Next person spells it K-A-T. That's wrong. You got that wrong. Third person spells it X-Q-W. You realize that is marked equally as wrong with the K-A-T? When you could argue that K-A-T is a better spelling for cat than C-A-T. Dictionaries know this because that's how they spell it phonetically. And so we've built a system for ourselves where there is an answer and everything else is not the answer, even when some answers are better than others. So our brains are absent the wiring capable of coming up with an original thought. If you're an employer and two candidates come up looking for a job, and this is again a contrived example, and you're interviewing the two candidates, and you say, and for part of this interview, I just want to ask you, what's the height of the spire on this building? And the candidate says, "Oh, I was an architect. I've majored in architecture for a while, and I memorized the heights of all the buildings on campus. I know the height of that spire is 150 feet. In fact, 155 feet tall." It turns out that's the right answer. That's the right answer. The person came up with it in second. That person goes away. The next candidate walks in. Do you know the height of the spire on this building? The candidate says, "No, but I'll be right back." Person runs outside, measures the length of the shadow of that spire on the ground, measures the length of her own shadow, ratios the height to the shadows, comes up with a number. Runs back inside, it's about 150 feet. Who are you going to hire? I'm hiring the person who figured it out, even though it took that person longer, even though the person's answer is not as precise. I'm hiring that person. That person knows how to use the mind in a way not previously engaged. You realize when you know how to think, it empowers you far beyond those who know only what to think.
And I always thought this is a very important thing. So a lot of you guys trying to memorize things. This is how I spell something. You don't think about those things like how to figure things out on your own. You really need to do those homework questions is asking you, give you opportunity for you to figure out. Like for example, like yesterday, that question 8. There are people like Aiden went to figure out. There are people says asking, how do I do it? Because if you tell them what to think, that's structured that way. If they figure out, no one can take from them. When they take a test, it's automatically come out like this because they know how to think rather than what to think. And you guys need to learn that. You guys gotta figure out, why is my answer wrong? Like Caden did all his homework. He did not plug in the X at the end. None of this question toward the end, he plugged in the X. He plugged in a value. He did not do direct substitution. And I look at his homework, I was like, he didn't even put in effort. He didn't even know what he did wrong. And I told him, he says, no, this is not good work. It's like, no, I did everything. You didn't even know you had the wrong answer. Because you did not think about those things. You did not go check on decimals whether your answer is correct or wrong. So remember, learn how to think, but a lot of times learn how to think is you have to figure out things on your own. You cannot memorize things, just memorize how do I do this problem. Figure out. Huh? There's always
No, no, no. You got it. No, you put me on the spot. I had all of them right. You can ask my group. I helped them all. Mr. Nate, you don't know. Mr. Nate, you don't know this. I literally knew it all. You put me on the spot. I accidentally said the X value, not the Y value. It's a simple mistake, dude.
Bye, Kaden. Have a wonderful day.
Don't try.
What
It doesn't matter. It's your approach, how you approach the value.
Okay.
Right? How you
So it's only do not exist if it's like from both sides and they both have an open circle.
No, they both not reaching the same value. One of them
okay.
comes to close circle. See that one of them could be close circle like this one. You reach like this,
yeah,
you reach like this,
yeah,
but it's
not
reaching. But this is still defined as -1. This is still defined as -2. So that's why they don't equal each
Okay.
other.
Okay. Thank you. Bye. Are you posting homework?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
This people says I'm a screw up person. You are good at math. I got it right. Who said who's empty? Who's that? What?